And then he was waiting to hear from Mary when her street was done, which wasn't until yesterday morning, or this morning, I should say.
Mm-hmm.
And what was it, yesterday morning, last night? But they had gone back to do Babs and Chuck, because Chuck had to be at dialysis yesterday morning, and they didn't leave there till Chuck came back to make sure that the plows didn't come through and block their driveway. So they wanted to make sure he could get back into the house.
I think a lot of neighbors contracted with them in the meantime as well, so.
Yeah.
Well, our roads are about at least 2 to 4 feet smaller, narrower than they are,
Yeah.
because I could see that when it's cutting through that you had you're down the step to the street, but there's still snow for another foot or two.
Yeah.
But people have stepped up. We had 2 neighbors that wanted to know if we needed our driveway plowed. You know what I mean? Like they wanted
That's
to
great.
Yeah. So.
And people's snow plows, those on trucks were breaking down because there was so much snow.
Yeah.
It's so heavy.
On top of that, I heard that the Conklin Road Barn burnt last night.
Oh, really?
And
You
equipment.
heard that, I didn't hear it, and I live here.
I heard it from a mutual friend.
Well, this was another time we weren't originally supposed to get that much. They were supposed to get hit more.
We got more than twice what they expected.
Right. And it was supposed to, because there was a few years back when we also had that really enormous storm where they had all the machines down in Long Island, because they thought that's where it was really going to hit. I already know from some folks from like seeing something on Facebook on Thursday or Friday, whatever, that like people who work in group homes are doing 24 or 48-hour shifts because they can't get out, and they can't, even if they could get out, they can't leave till someone else get in. And there's a few of those houses. There's one that I used to visit on the top of a big hill. I see, it's like, why in the world would you put something up there? It's not the, it's
Probably
hard to get
easier
through.
to
They
get
got a lot less snow on Long Island, but it was heavier.
Okay.
It was warmer, so it was wetter and heavier.
Oh, okay.
My sister called me from New York City to see how I'm doing. They didn't get that much.
No, they didn't. Yeah. And my sister got 8 inches.
But
And
my son
and where
called,
she lives is the part of Suffolk County that gets the most.
How much did
there's
you
also
get where you
city-
are, Suzanne?
I got about 3 feet.
Yeah, I had 28 inches here, so it only took me like 45 minutes to plow my driveway out.
But I have a longer driveway and a
Yeah, I
steeper
know, it's a little
driveway.
wider too than mine.
Yeah.
the snow
And I went,
completely,
but I drove to go to the store today because I had to get milk. And around the corner, they didn't get as much snow. Airport Road did not get as much snow,
Weird. Yeah.
which, it's a block away.
Weird.
So
The
I'm
snow-
glad that, we get to check in with each other and that we're all doing okay.
yes.
This craziness. And in this post Hanukkah Shabbat, I wanted to share, I'm going to share one text with you, sort of sharing it with you, a story. And then I decided I was going to share the screen and share with you 2 poems that I shared the whole packet with some of you before, but I thought these were particularly good for right now for us, and am interested in your thoughts. And I know that some of you are much more attuned to some of the literature than I might be, so I think you'll be particularly appreciative of them. So I want to start with a story about Abraham Joshua Heschel. And this comes from Rabbi Deborah Orenstein. So if you imagine the light burning miraculously in the ancient temple, if you think about it, for the first day when it burned, it was daring. They lit that light, knowing it would go out after just one day. Day 2 was stunning because it lasted, and no one expected it to. Day 3 was nerve-wracking, because was it going to make it? Wasn't it? But it lasted again. And day 4 was celebratory, and it started to bring confidence. So then they got to day 5, and that's that miracle danger zone, because it represents that possibility of a of taking miracles for granted. So when Rabbi Abraham Joshua Heschel gave public lectures in the evening, he would often start out by saying, "Ladies and gentlemen, a great miracle just happened." And people would lean forward eager to know what miracle coincided with the arrival of such a great spiritual leader. And Rabbi Heschel would report, "The sun just went down." And some people would laugh and others would shake their head in disappointment. And then Heschel would start to talk about radical amazement, wonder, and awe, that sometimes it's those things that happen repeatedly that are miraculous, that they just become so mundane to us that we miss the miracle of it. So if a sunset happened once every 50 years, everyone would gather around and watch enraptured. But it happens every day, so we often will take it for granted. One message of the 5th day of Hanukkah is that the miraculous is not limited to the infrequent. In fact, the greatest miracles and the ones that influence our lives the most are the repetitive daily miracles that become almost transparent to us. So that's the first thought and piece I wanted to share with you this evening. And then I want to share this next one where you can see it as well. So while I'll read it, I wanted you to be able to see it. Okay, it will take me a moment to get this started the right way. Okay, so everybody can see this, okay?
Yes.
Okay, so the source of this material is a group of which I knew some of the people, but I didn't find the site until a couple months ago. I saw some things earlier from some of the people, but it's a new group called Bayit, Building Jewish. Bayit, of course, is house. So this piece is written by Tricia Arlen, My Maccabees. This year, my Maccabees wrote postcards, made phone calls, texted, knocked on doors safely. This year, my Maccabees taught their children at home, channeled their anger, watched a lot of TV, learned to use Zoom. This year, my Maccabees reported to work at hospitals, saw thousands die, helped many people live, counseled survivors. Just a second, I gotta find the place to turn the page. Okay. No, this went 2 pages. Okay, here we go. My apologies. This year, my Maccabees embraced their righteous anger, held signs, organized protests, marched in the streets. This year, my Maccabees lost their jobs, collected unemployment, stood on lines, worried. Blessed, holy wholeness, I give thanks to these Maccabees, my heroes. May they have sustenance in place of anxiety, health in place of sickness, joy in place of grief, justice in place of evil. Amen. So I'll pause if you have any thoughts or comments to this piece, because we don't always talk about modern Maccabees and who might they be, but in our world, there's a lot of good things to consider here. The next piece that I want to share.
What?
I have a comment on that piece.
Okay, please.
I like the gender neutrality of it. It didn't mention any genders. I think
That's true. It keeps it open so we can all connect better, doesn't it? When we don't go one gender or the other.
Yes.
And I like the use of the word Maccabees. Everywhere we see that, let's thank our heroes, the frontline workers, but I like this picture of using the Maccabee.
And it's not only the frontline workers, it's so many people and everything
Yes, yeah.
people are dealing with all the time. And the small things or the big things, it all adds up.
That's right.
So it's like, who can be a tzaddik? All of us could be considered Maccabees, depending what we do, and who's a tzaddik, who's a righteous person, with small actions, and it builds from there. So this next piece has a tremendous amount of inferences in it, and that's why I wanted to put it here with the connections down below. So it's called Leftovers. So it's sort of for the end of the holiday, but there are so many references in the text to Martin Luther King, to Albert Einstein, to Shakespeare, to so many different sources that I wanted to have that reference for you.
Mhm.
Even after, and since we're lighting a Havdalah candle tonight, I figured we could talk about light and light going out because we're going to be lighting light after this. Even after tonight's lights go out, I still dance to the swaying beat of flickering flame, tiny sparks driving out what darkness cannot. Cheeks still warmer than a few spunky candles ought to be. Proof that both matter, and soul can change with light speed. Latke oil lingers on the lips, leftovers of salty, savory crunch. An old world recipe to lift joy out of soiled and humbled roots. Buried in the earth, dark as the deep, awaiting their moment. Their whole purpose in being, to make a memory and a smile. And if for spuds, then also for souls, buried in their deep dark, awaiting their moment, their whole purpose in being, to shine. Why wait? When the moon shone, we less noticed the candles, yet there they were, each day one more, a bit brighter. There they were, awaiting not the sun, but the disappearing moon, the year's darkest night to begin revealing their brightest light. If dark is what brings out your light, then maybe so too all of us. Give people a way to make light, and we all can become the way. So at the bottom, you can see the many references. What darkness cannot, tiny sparks driving out what darkness cannot is a reference to Dr. Martin Luther King. Darkness cannot drive out darkness, only light can do that. Both matter and soul, there are only two ways to live your life. One is as though nothing is a miracle. The other is as though everything is a miracle, from Albert Einstein. Shakespeare, when the moon shone, we did not see the candle, from Merchant of Venice. The disappearing moon is about as we increase in light, the seventh night of Hanukkah coincides with Rosh Chodesh. We have a sliver of that new moon, the northern year's darkest night. And if dark is what brings, refers to Robert Frost, choose something like a star when he wrote, since dark is what brings out your light. And Ella Baker wrote, give light and people will find the way. So again, I want to pause and see your thoughts, your reflections on this piece. As we still haven't gotten to the winter solstice yet, I think that idea of light in the darkness is a powerful piece for us to continue to consider. Let's see.
That there's optimism, and I'm saying that, with the swaying of the heat and the flickering of the flame, we have hope, we have optimism.
Okay. Oopsie, I didn't mean to move forward. Yeah, so there's optimism, or we can choose to see light. We can choose to have the optimism, but we don't necessarily have to go there, but we can go there. So on your screens, right at the edge of where the pictures are, there's a little space where you can move over so that the slide takes up less of your picture and you're able to see everyone in the margin. I haven't figured out how to do that when I'm sharing my screen, but whenever somebody else is sharing, I've been able to do that. So you can have more of, you're able to then see everyone and also see the text at the same time. So I encourage you to try to do that. Did it make sense what I'm describing or not really?
I can
Okay.
make my,
It's very easy and I've done it in the past.
but I
Okay,
don't see anybody. I
It's
see
right on the
one.
edge of where our pictures are, right before you get to what I'm sharing. If you look there, there'll be like two little lines and you can move them over and that will move the part of the screen of the text that I'm sharing over a little bit smaller and allow you to see everyone at the same time.
I can't see anyone. I've moved it as far as it'll go.
Go in the
I
other
only
direction.
see
Oh,
you.
now I can just see you.
Direction. Go the other direction and then you should be able to see more
There
people.
we are.
That's
Now
not
if you pull it
everybody.
down, if you pull it
No.
down.
Pull it down.
Yeah,
I
Rabbi,
only-
when you're
only see
using an
one picture.
when you're using an iPad, none of those things are
None
in
of
that
those things work.
format.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. I have a laptop, but it's pleasant to sit with the
Go
iPad.
ahead to selfie.
Nope. I don't only see one picture.
Go to gallery view.
You're not in gallery. Yeah, you're not in gallery view. There's up at the top, there's a little, on mine, it's like a blue box with like 6 little parts to it. And there's a thing with 2 and with 1. So you are in speaker view. So you only have the person who's talking probably showing.
Right.
Sylvia.
Right.
So if you go up to the top, you'll
So
look
I
right,
have
you can go to
Zoom
gallery.
ratio, request remote,
No.
anecdote, edit full screen, exit full screen, slide by the
It should be
mode,
next to exit full screen. It
exit
should
full
say
screen.
gallery view.
Right below there.
Doesn't say underneath exit full screen, says
No,
side by
don't do
side
that.
mode.
There's like a little box, like a little square of dots and you want to click on there.
But up in the
I
left
don't
corner.
see it.
Up in the top, and mine is the top right is
Yeah,
where
mine's
it
on
gives
the
you the
top
choice
right.
of gallery
Rabbi
view or
Barber's
speaker
head,
view.
yeah. Rabbi Barbie's on the top. It's on the top of her head.
I don't see it. It's okay.
So we're
All
going to
right.
continue with Havdalah. So I'm going to
See if-
right in front of me. And I had realized, I guess, 2 weeks ago, maybe last week.
I got it.
yeah, that I didn't have one of the new candles. As my candles were getting smaller and smaller, I was getting in trouble here. So I brought one of the candles home. So I have a longer candle now as well. So we say goodbye to Shabbat with the bittersweet ceremony that employs, of course, the wine, the fragrance, and the candlelight. And probably it would be good to mute at this point, and then we'll unmute a little bit later. And we light the candles. You'd think after all of Hanukkah, we'd be more proficient. There. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. La 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen borei peri hagafen ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei minei v'samim borei minei v'samim ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 la. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei me'orei ha'esh borei me'orei ha'esh ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 ya la 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 Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol ben or l'choshech ben yom hashvi'i l'sheshet yemei Hamaseh. Baruch atah Adonai Hamavdil ben kodesh l'chol. After we take the sip, here I'm going to move to the next slide. We're going to put our candle out in the wine or juice. Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi, Bimheira v'yameinu, Yavo Eleinu, Imashiach ben David, Imashiach ben David, Eliyahu Hanavi, Eliyahu Hatishbi, Eliyahu, Eliyahu, Eliyahu Hagiladi. And we unmute to sing together Shavua Tov. One second, sorry. Shavua Tov, 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 a good week, a week of peace, gladness, rain, and joy and praise. A good week, a week of peace, may gladness reign and joy and praise. I'll stop sharing my screen so we can see one another, to wish one another a good week, a Shavua Tov, and we will back here, same time, same place next week.
I have a